Hey guys, welcome back to Home Built. Last week you saw me tackle the driver's side sills. Now this time we're going to tackle the passenger side. Alright, so just before we tackle into this week, I just wanted to clear up some of the things from the previous episode. Lots of people were talking to me about the MIG weld, that you can stop warping by using wet rags on the panel or things like that. I've done that in the past. I'm not a big fan of using water on bare metal panels. Just the possibility of getting through the porous welds and going into areas, just don't like water on bare metal. I think the air blower is a much better option. And those of you who have been following me for a while will see that I've been doing that for years on my other projects, is using the MIG welder, using the air blower. As I was saying, it's less about the welding and more about the having to grind it back, and the fact that MIG wire is hardened wire. It's hardened so it can actually get through the MIG. So you end up with this really hard weld that's large. No matter how neatly you do it, you still have some weld that like quite a pronounced weld that you need to grind back. And you can do it in the MIG, and there's lots of people who do it very successfully, but I've seen more people doing it better with the TIG, and that's what I want to learn. And also I want to practice my TIG welding skills. I'm not too worried about these sills and things. Tight little panels, warping is less of an issue. The issues really come when you start going on to big flat repairs. For example, I'm going to have to weld on this lower section of this front guard here, and doing that with a MIG can be done, and can be done well by people who are quite good, and as I said, I've done it on all my other cars, but I think it's much better with the TIG. So a nice tight weld, and that's what Tim's been doing for years, and I want to try and metal finish this car pretty much so there is almost zero bog in it. That's my plan. So moving forward, the next thing to tackle is this sill area, and I'll just bring you in so you can see what's going on down here. So you can see here that this whole front corner looks like Swiss cheese. So my job today is to tackle this. I'm not going to really bother about the floors too much at this stage, because I'm going to have to modify the tunnel and everything. I'll tackle that at a later date. The floors are not my concern at this stage. It's more getting these frame rails good, and also I cut out a corner of rust in the corner here. I'm going to do the same as I do on the other side, cut this entire panel off, and so I can get in behind, do all the repairs, and then weld it back on. So first things first, let's start cutting. Okay, it is all stripped out, and I've got my first patch panel in there. I'm just going to grind back the edges and start trying to TIG weld it in. One of the things that was brought up last week was that I was holding the TIG welder down here. The issue is that this TIG welder's got a push button right here. This is the trigger. So I can't sort of hold it more like a pencil. I have to hold it down here. But I do actually have a foot pedal. Now, I was resisting using it. This actually has a dial on it. On the stalk here, so I can increase and decrease the power, but I find that I bump it all the time and knock it up or down the power ratings. I do actually have a pedal. I was resisting using it mostly because I'm working on cars and I'm all in different positions, I'm not always going to be sitting here on a bench where I can foot control it easily. But I'm going to switch over now. I'm going to try the foot pedal, see how it goes, see if that's the method that's going to work well for me, and we'll give it a go on this here. At least I'll have that instant flexibility to be able to increase or decrease heat as required. Okay, that's definitely not that pretty. You can see that I let the gas off a bit early on this one up here. That's the black. And I was chasing my tail with holes and blow-throughs and stuff. There was a tear down the bottom here that it doesn't really work very well trying to fill in gaps with the TIG. It's much better with a MIG. So this is definitely not a good example of putting low heat into it, but it's a practice. And if I can keep practicing, that's how I'm going to get better at it. Moving on, my next panel I'm going to make is this inner sill panel. And it's got lots of multiple curves, so I've got to try and bend up a piece to start with that follows this profile. All right, so I spent a fair bit of time here and I made up this weird looking piece, and this is actually the shape of this inner sill. So this is just my template, which I'm now going to use and take back onto the bigger sheet and start folding it up to get the right size and the right profile. So hopefully when I put it all in here, I can weld it all in and it fits beautifully. So I cut this out on angles because it's quite thick and it's hard to bend in that press brake, and got through, started bending it up until I actually realized I bent it the wrong way around. So frustrating because it's so heavy and hard to bend, and I just start again. So thankfully the other side of the car has this section that's still good, so I'm using that as a bit of an idea. I've done some scribbling on here, so now I'm going to cut this out and fold in this end because this end tucks nice and neatly into the corner here. So time to do some cutting and tweaking to get this all to fit just right. All right, that was a lot of backwards and forwards, but I've actually made this piece up and it actually fits very nicely up in here now. It's a nice, neat, tight fit. It's a thicker sheet, so I'm going to use the MIG to put this in. But before I MIG it in, I'm going to make up the outer sheet because it sort of slots in behind here. So I'm going to sort of layer it and yeah, see how that goes. Okay, so I've got my panels all made up, quite happy with how they fit finally. I've drilled a bunch of holes in here so I can plug weld it. So now it's time to start fitting it all together and welding it all up. Okay, so I've replaced all this part in here. I haven't bothered grinding it down completely underneath here because I'm going to be patching over it anyway. It's all going to be covered over. Inside, let me get some light on this. You can see it's not perfect. This is all going to be covered. Obviously, it's all going to be covered by carpet and stuff. But it's all patched in. There's no rust. There's no holes. So now I need to just go on and replace this last cover and do the patch in the corner here. All right, so that's all now done. It's all re-welded back on again and blended in. That patch is put in the corner there, and everything inside is all buttoned up. So we actually have a rust-free corner now. All right, and that is all I've got time for today. So that means it's time for Fun Facts with Mrs. Jeff.
Hey guys, after the 1951 Formula One season, Alfa Romeo announced its retirement from motorsport. But the racing department was not shut down. Instead, they were used to test experimental chassis and engines. The first of these new experimental cars was unveiled in 1952, and the C52 was designed by Coach Builders Touring, and it was the first of its kind to be built on a space frame chassis, which was a huge step up from the previous ladder-framed race cars. The design focused on being aerodynamic, and as it was in the midst of the space craze, UFO craze of the 1950s, it was nicknamed the Disco Volante, or the Flying Saucer. It proved to be an efficient design, with top speeds of 220 kilometers an hour, but not without lift at both ends. Only 3 cars were ever built, the second a coupe, and the third another Spider, but with tighter hips for tight hill climbs. These did inspire a series of cars from 1953. The 6C 3000 CMs, but as they didn't have the space frame chassis, there was a lot of controversy as to whether they could really be classed as the Disco Volante.
All right, that was quite a long, painstaking day trying to get all those different layers repaired in that corner. It was probably one of the most complicated parts that I was worried about tackling on this as far as rust goes, so hopefully it should be smoother sailing from there, but that's probably famous last words.
And you are no stranger to rust repair, right, Jeff?
No.
It's not your first rodeo.
No, it seems to be...
As we know.
What I'm doing a lot of lately. But,
it seems to be attracted to you, or you're attracted to rust.
At least this car will give me plenty of practice. All right.
Yeah. I hope you're enjoying the show. If you'd like to follow us see our videos a day earlier, you can follow us on Patreon.
And it really helps us out. Also, you can follow on Facebook and Instagram. I often give some little hints and tips a little bit early, so...
I feel like we've done this in a really clunky way today, but never mind. I hope you're enjoying the show. We'll see you soon.
See you guys.
Bye. Official retiring from the race in Nevada. On the raisins. Oh, yeah. Space framed part. No, I knew it was going wrong. I was like, I'm just going to push on. As it was doing the crazy snap.
Yes.